Oh, dear ones, here we go again. The way that the world is unfolding right now, to me, it looks like it's like we're being forced to wake up. Wake up from the dream, the illusion, the matrix, the false matrix. It it's so crazy out there that you got to just stop and say, why is this? Why is suddenly now everything just coming apart? Everybody is fighting each other. Everybody thinks they're right. It has never been like that before. So the way I see it, I usually see it a little more from a bigger view. Um, it just feels like the whole duality of right, wrong, good, bad, that has been amped up to such a large extent that, I mean, guys, at some point you gotta go like, what? What is going on? Why is this happening? And even though I can never guarantee that I'm right in what I'm saying or seeing, I can just share what is being shown to me, what is becoming clear to me. And it certainly looks like it's so big now that you just have to wake up. It's like getting that, what is that proverbial 4x4 in your head, right? It's like wake up. So the invitation to wake up is here now. And it looks like many, many people are still not feeling it. They may just have gotten maybe a 2x2 in their head and it's like, oh, this feels terrible. But don't wait for the big 4x4 to hit you. You don't need to. You can wake up or start waking up now by questioning what you see, what you believe, what you hear, what you're being told, what other people believe. Start questioning your own mind, your own belief, and instead of putting that energy into all that stuff that's going on, try and put it in here into what you want instead. I know it feels maybe a little cut and dry and too simple, but if we take it down to the bottom, the foundation, it is like, what is it from the void? What do we want to create? What do we want to put our attention on? What do we want to feed our energy to? And then it goes to, this crazy stuff. I almost said a different word that starts with an S too, or what really wants to come forth in our heart. Now, I know that there is something inside each of our hearts. Many may not be fully aware of it, and that's fair enough, because if we had been too occupied and identified with survival, which so many people are right now, I know there is not extra time to go within and go like, well, I really would like this, where it's like you're just fighting out there for your life or for paying the bills or whatever it is. There is nothing, there's no extra energy to go and just feel what it is that you want instead. So I can really appreciate how hard it is for people, but it's not that hard for all of us. There are those of us who may have an easier external life where we can take time to go within and start feeling what is the world in here that is trying to come forth through all this darkness. Like, what is the light here? What is the light trying to show me and to tell me? And the more we are able to do that, and it really is just kind of a switch. It's like you go from here to here. And then little by little, you leave behind the emotional attachments to the matrix. And that's what you keep feeding. I know I talk about this a lot, but it is so important. I just really feel like we are at a precipice now. We need to choose. That's like there's these two timelines. Do you want to keep fighting the matrix, fighting what you don't want, or do you finally want to say, okay, I'm going to start feeling into this and make myself available for a new paradigm, for a new earth. And we can do that. Those of us, I should say it this way, those of us who can do that because we have time and space and we have the means, so we can actually take out some of our time during the day and spend it here inside, listening deeply to the longing. What is the world that wants to take birth through us? And then make ourselves available for it. So the pressure is on, if you haven't noticed it. The pressure is forcing us, pressing us, pushing us to the edge. And the more discomfort we feel, and unfortunately that's how it works, right? The more four by fours are hitting you, you go like, I don't want that, I don't want that. And that's when you start waking up to what you are lost in, what you are identified with. And then if you can create a little more space after that, like, I don't want that, then you can maybe ask like, well, what do I want? And then a natural next question would be like, well, what am I doing here? Why am I feeding this monster here instead of feeding what I really want? And that's when we can get together with other people. So it's not something we can do alone. And that's, of course, why I have my little YouTube channel here to share that, to see if I can get more people engaged and inspired to switch inside, to put your energy on something that is much more beautiful, much more satisfying, much more inclusive, fulfilling, because that's really what we all want. And there might be a few exceptions, but for the most part, that is what we all want. So the hard thing that I see happening with my friends and acquaintances is that it is hard for most people to unhook from this fighting or thinking they're wrong or feeling sorry for those people that this is happening to, and seeing the things that are happening. And I'm not denying that there's a lot of hardship out there, a lot of people are suffering. That makes it even more important that those of us who do have extra energy, extra space inside, that we put that energy here. That doesn't mean we can't help those in need. That will be just a natural extension from here. You can't help it. But we need to be here and make ourselves available for something better. Because what's going on out there is such a low, low, low energy for most people involved in the politics and whatever. Such a low energy that cannot create a world of peace, a golden age. That doesn't happen, that doesn't exist there. There is no golden age, there is no peace, there is no justice, because it's a world of duality, right? So you can't just have peace. It doesn't exist there. It exists here when you and I bring it forth into here, right? Then it's there naturally, but out there, that doesn't exist there. So I was walking with a dear friend today, and we had some talks about different things. And I shared my experience, and I noticed a lot of times she wants to interrupt me and tell me what she thinks about it. So I just asked her a number of times, like, can I just finish? It's nice if I could just finish my thought. And she said, oh yeah, sorry. And then most of the time before I actually finish what I'm saying, she wants to come in and tell me basically that she sees it in a different way, and totally not acknowledging how I see it. So, and that's a very common thing. So I just kept, so and then eventually I said to her, but is it okay with you if I have a different experience than you? And is it important, or is it important for you that I see it your way, that you can pull me over? Because when you say but, then it's like you want to pull me over and agree with you. So is it okay with you that I can just have my experience here, and then you have a different experience, and then we still have a great time? And she's like, oh, yeah, yeah. So when that happened, I realized that that's a lot what's going on in people's minds. There's such an automatic wanting to say our view, our opinion, what we believe, what we know, what we think. And there is zero connection. There is full on division. Even in a kind, loving conversation, there can be this total division where each will just say their thing, but there's no meeting ground. And that is what I think is really important, that we can learn to accept and respect and allow our own experience without having to convince anybody else that they should think like we do. So I think I want to hold here for today, and very much invite you to take a look inside. How are you adding to the division by thinking you're right? And you might really feel you're like, I'm 100% right, so I have to get this through. But all it does, it's driving other people who see differently. It just drives them away. And you can see what happens, right? Here's the gap. It didn't solve the problem. What will solve the problem over time is that more of us start living here and following that inner wisdom, that inner knowing, even though it may be very different for somebody else. They may have a very different inner knowing, and that's fine. But that's hard for most people to understand and actually accept, that you can have two very different opposing experiences, and it's okay. Try and see what happens next time you're talking with somebody and you just say, I have a very different experience. Would you like to hear it? And then they'll say yes or no. And then you know if you're going to be heard or not. But just notice what it's like. Do you want to change your friends? Do you want to pull them over on your side? Or can you let them have their experience, right? They like vanilla ice cream and you like chocolate ice cream. And you might have read 100 articles to back up that vanilla ice cream is destroying the world. Can you be with that? And vice versa. Can we learn to be with our own experience and also allow others to be with their own experience? And then see what happens. A whole new conversation will come out of that. And that is probably the conversation we wanted all along. Just allowing ourselves and each other to be exactly how we are. You want to give it a try? I would love to hear if you want to share it in the comments below. That would be wonderful. That would be an interesting communication with us all here, to see how do we deal with that? How can we stay so present with ourselves and each other without trying to change each other? It would be fantastic. So if you want to join me this coming Tuesday in 2 days for my Feel Your Deepest Longing, Find Your Spiritual Calling, that's where we really start diving into the feeling, the longing in your heart. So, because that's the one we want to start connecting more with and making ourselves open channels for. So you can still join me. It's this coming Tuesday, and the link will be in the description. All right, friends, have a great day.